I see exactly why God chose you. See, sis, God chose you because you're the very one who understands where they've been at. You're the very one who understands what it's like to be rejected, to feel unseen, overlooked, to feel like that God, why am I walking through this? And God is saying, because you're going to be the very one that's going to be their answer. It's crazy how, sis, when we're in the midst of it, we cannot see how we are the ones that's going to be the answer to somebody else. That when I became the sis you need, I couldn't see that, man, it was going to open all these doors that thousands of women around the world will be reaching out to me to coach them. And I'm from a small town, sis. I couldn't see how I would talk to you about the ledge of suicide, how I would help women make millions of dollars, how I would help women learn how to love themselves again and see themselves the way that God sees them. But sis, can I tell you something? I see exactly why God chose me. Because see, just like so many other women in the Bible who felt discouraged, who felt like, God, what's the purpose of my life? Felt like as if they were overlooked and unseen, sis, that was my story. And you are sitting there with a story, sis, that is somebody else's answer. You are sitting there with a story, sis, that is somebody else's guide. Girl, you are the blueprint. So when you're sitting there, you're like, well, why am I going through this? Well, why not? Why can't you be the very one to show them what it looks like to get back up again? Why can't you be the very one that shows them what it looks like to trust and know that God has a plan for you, even when your story says God has abandoned you? Man, could you imagine if Esther would have stopped and the part of her story says, where she didn't have a mother, she didn't have a father. Why am I being raised by my uncle? God, don't you have more for me than this? And God is like, yes, I do. But can I tell you that there are so many women around the world with your story that need a you, who needs a Takaya, who needs a sis. And sis, when I started this journey of being the sis you need, I never realized that eventually it will be so full circle to where now I'm raising up other sisters that somebody else needs. Man, I think of one of my clients, and I pray she watches this and she sees this. I think of one of my clients, Ariel, who's leading this bold and blessed movement. How now she's leading this fast and leading this charge, and she's helping women to be bold, to have faith, to walk in discipline, to know who they are in God, and to understand the blessing on their life, to go after those audacious goals and dreams. And man, just as I heard her this morning talking about being a $300,000 income earner, I was like, wow. This woman with 6 beautiful kids who's married to her husband, that here she is realizing, man, I'm more than just a mother. I'm the sis somebody else needs. But then I think of my other client like Shatina, who's leading this charge of this return to royalty, where women understand who they are and know their worth and know their assignment and know that God has called them for such a time as this. See, sis, you are the sis that somebody else needs. You are the sis that somebody else is waiting on. You are the sis that somebody right now is looking and saying, man, how am I going to get out of these fears? How am I going to go after my dreams? How am I going to do this when all I've been is a stay-at-home mom? How am I going to do it? And then they're going to come to you and be like, oh yeah, now I know how I'm going to do it, sis. Just like you, I laid in my bed depressed. Maybe you're like where I was, where you felt like, God, I know there's more to life than just being a mom. And there was. Now I'm this sis you need with over 600,000 followers. Says now here we are owning all these real estate properties, helping women to become millionaires, coaching women to know their worth and create the wealth that God has called them to do. Now we're over here helping women to create. What is your movement? What is that thing that God put inside of your heart that wakes you up every day, that even when you feel discouraged, even when you feel like all hope is lost, God keeps bringing you right back to this. God keeps bringing you right back to this same thing, this same idea that's burning on the inside of you. And sis, don't let that idea die, but rather, sis, take that charge, Go to Standout Store / the Sis You Need Sis. Get in my Worthy Woman Academy, because you are meant to lead a movement and a charge to other women of what it looks like to get back up again, to other Christian women who maybe have gone through ministry. You know, before I was a Sis You Need, I was a pastor, an ordained pastor, and I led a ministry, and I went through so much hurt, so much brokenness, and I had given up. And little did I know that God was saying, don't give up, Takaya, but get up and start your movement from ministry to now a movement. From where I was in ministry and I was helping these people, but it was burning me out and breaking me, to now I have a movement that even when I feel discouraged, I get up every day with so much passion, so much excitement, because I know I gotta let every woman know her worth. I gotta let every woman know that God has called her to do something great. And sis, maybe that's what God is calling you to do. That you burn with that desire. What is it that you gotta let women know? And type that below. And I would love to connect with you. You can email me at support@thesisyouneed.co if you can't find the link. But sis, I would love to connect with you. And I want to invite you to get inside of this space, because there's women just like you who has something inside of her heart that God has called her to. And it's time for you, sis, to realize you are the one.